it's been really interesting about talk about family law. I talk about the harm, the potential, the harm. Well, we have a jargon in our field, right? Semiology about attached to law. So what is harmful might not be illegal. What is illegal might not be harmful. And also about punishment surrounded. Like if there's no law, then think about if there's no punishment or if there's no prison. But really, like there's some movie about this. Like I don't know if anyone have seen Purge, where like every because of the overcrowded prison in the US, they said like one day annually everything will be legalized, even murder. But even that is not everyone just gonna go out the street and commit crime. There are something else kind of restrict us from doing something. It's not like because of that we're going to go out and do something really bad. So I think my point here, using this case study or using this example of imagining there is no law, is really trying to get you to think. So when you're trying to unpack this problem, when you're trying to start this thinking, there's no fine line between reasoning and description. Right? I mean, it's not, the thinking itself doesn't really have a clear boundary about what part we're doing the reasoning or what part we're doing the description and what part we're doing the analytical work for it. So this brings me almost to the end of the presentation. Is that, okay, this is my own take, like I'm smuggling my own music taste here. So imagine that there's no law, like to live outside the law, you must be honest. So this kind of a foundation about if we don't have law, we might have moral or other set of value to guide of life. And also just going back to law can be thinking, I mean, in our field can be thinking as something as a governing tool, where, so what is crime? What has really been legalized? So like steal a little, they throw it in jail, but throw a crown, they make you a king. So this is kind of this immunity and impunity in the field of criminology. So this is some of the 2 pens I put here for you to reflect and to draw your attention about critical criminology and critical thinking. So to conclude my session, really, it's about I sort of being departing from what we think at the beginning about what is critical thinking, drawing from those pictures. I googled about critical thinking, which hashtag that's critical thinking online. Usually we think about brainstorming, the discussion, speak up. So after we get the question, we start to brainstorming immediately, instantly, and then just go round and round and try to see if we can some idea, or sometimes even like an epiphany point at that, right? Someone just say something really brilliant. Or we also have the element about make use of multiple sources of information. We have the idea of always think why. We have a linear model to facilitate this critical thinking. But by doing that, that example about imagining there's no law, what's going to happen, I think you all get some sense of the feeling like the thinking doesn't really happen as a linear way, and the description sometimes can be really, really useful. So what I would suggest we can do in a classroom in the future, either online or in the post-COVID times, to facilitate alternative creational thinking, we can probably do discussion, but we can also have like 1 or 2 minutes like self-reflection, or have 1 or 2 minutes individual task. Because now when I'm doing pre-recorded lecture, I sometimes ask students, like I pause for like half minute. I say, just sit back on your chair and then think about what if we do not have prison, what's going to happen, or this kind of thinking, or why we will criminalize this kind of activity or this kind of behavior, but not in the past, but recently, this kind of question. So this can actually also facilitate this creational thinking. And also, I think it's the part of thinking itself, comparing to just jumping to your phone, because now we have all the information right at hand, right? because now we have the smartphone. Most of the activities in seminars are designed based on the convenience of technology, right? If you ask any question, people can just get their phone and find it instantly. So it's like pause for that 1 minute to just think without the information, without Google that. That can also generate some really, really interesting thought. And lastly, is to replace reasoning with questioning. This can be like a word game, but really, I think like instead of just asking what, when, how, why, so what, I mean, think about what have not been asked. That's kind of one way to go. So what is not being asked here, or what have not been or why it haven't been asked, right? Or why we cannot think, why we can't think about the reasoning now, like why the why question never occurred before. This is always some sort of construction, some kind of knowledge positioning there, because this goes back to what I said in the beginning about the Gramsci's idea about common sense, because there's really no common sense, there's really no general knowledge. Everything we know as some sort of general knowledge, as some sort of fact, we need to ask why, right? And lastly is, what are we asking when we're really asking about why? So it's kind of a reasoning behind reasoning. This can go on and on. This is really just like my own like reflection on this. I just really hope this can give you some like a little bit of sneak peek about might be something out there called creational thinking. Might not fit the framework of, might not fit what we thought is critical thinking. That's all for my session. I really enjoyed it. I want to thank you all for your input. Thank you all for listening. If you have any feedback or you want to discuss more, please email me. You can find my email on the first page of the slides. So thank you all.